All right. Hopefully my signal is good this time. A couple things I wanted to touch on. Now that I have a signal, is the signal good? Y'all got me in the car like I'm on a stakeout. Listen, uh, this is for the people who have been in a situation where you find yourself attracted to the same types over and over again, but it never works out. So you find yourself in sort of like a loop where you meet a certain type, you're attracted to them, things go in a similar pattern, or they go in a similar fashion every time. Um, so, for example, you might find yourself attracted to people that end up playing you, or you might find yourself attracted to men who uh, are emotionally distant or who don't who don't want to commit, or different things like that. Um, and you find that it happens in a cyclical fashion. So this is what I wanted to talk about, because I know a lot of people who go through things like that, and don't really understand the reason. And what I believe is, when you get into the dating process, you're in most often, if you haven't worked on it already, most often when you're dealing with the opposite sex, you're entering into relationships utilizing appreciate you utilizing programming from your childhood. So your childhood experience becomes echoed in your dating life as an adult. Um, and what I was talking about earlier is, it it creates patterns in you. So you project and you resonate with certain people, not because necessarily that they're good for you or they're the best type for you, but because your your trauma resonates, or your uh your brokenness resonates and connects with that other person. And that can feel like love at times. That can feel like something that's meant to be at times. But if those patterns aren't corrected, or those wounds aren't healed, you're gonna find yourself locked in with somebody that is not a good match. And then you'll notice it when you try to do personal growth for yourself, and they kind of seem less attractive, or they don't seem as compatible anymore, because you started to try to heal through and do self improvement on yourself, and that person is no longer compatible. So the question normally is, like, how do you, one, figure out what patterns you have and what you're transmitting when you go on these dates and things like that, like what your frequency is. Why do you keep attracting these same types over and over again? But then how do you change it? How do you heal through it? And that's what the book is about. So if what I've done in the book is, I put it out last year, but I just got to do the paperback now, so that's available now. Uh, but my thing was, I've heard all of the different types of scenarios that, what I'm saying, my friends, family, different women have gone through, and I've sort of created a manual, right? So it's based on all the different baggage types that men and women carry. So there's abandonment issues, there's trust issues, there's codependency, there's scarcity mindset, there's rescuers, where you almost innately seek out people or mates who are going through a bunch of shit, and you link up with them. um the books, the links in my bio, the links in my bio to get the book. But so I outline all these different baggage types. So the top 10 baggage types that I've seen, that's in my life, in your life, that I've surveyed just over years of time, just watching different things go on social media, different people going through different things in my life personally, friends, extended friends, etc. So my top 10, what they are, where they come from, which is your childhood and different things like that. So where, how are they formed? How is abandonment formed? How do you have these trust issues? How do these things get formulated? What types of upbringings can cause which things? So I do that. So I go to the where, like with the origin. Where did they come from? Then I go into, okay, how do they show up in your dating life? Because your childhood can affect you in certain ways, but then what types of habits do you have as a person in a relationship, as a person who dates out there, and who different things like that. So like, what does it look like? And then I give you my 10 recommendations to work through and heal those wounds, and to get you on the path to empower yourself to be able to work through some of these things. Now, depending on what you've gone through, it may be advisable to work with a therapist, to have that third party professional, because if there's deeper things you have to work through, I'm a therapist myself, so I'm definitely an advocate of seeking therapy with somebody that you resonate with. That's for sure. So, but even as a precursor, I'm sure in most cases you would have those questions, because you want to know yourself. You want to know, you want to be able to point to somewhere in the book and say, yeah, that's me, or that's my friend, or this makes sense. Because you don't, the last thing you want to do in this life is just move about without any knowledge of where you're going or where your patterns came from. And it's not about a blame thing. It's about taking the power back that may have been taken from you at a certain age, where you didn't have any choices. If there was domestic violence in your home, you didn't have a choice about that. If there was verbal abuse, you didn't have a choice. If you were abandoned or left outside, or put in harm's way or neglected, that wasn't your fault. These things aren't your fault. So as an adult now, it's not a situation that we want to say, or we want to condemn you or anything like that. Exactly, Tom. Like when you can take the best thing to do from it is to be able to take from it and say, all right, these are the things that I dislike about what this caused in me, and it's my responsibility to heal that. But it also gives you an example of how not to be, in a lot of cases, and how to, if there's children involved, how to break that cycle, and how to make sure that you don't cause any more pain in a transgenerational fashion, because you don't want to create a lineage of pain and destruction in your family line. That's not what we're out to do. But in the immediate time frame, if you've seen any of my content, I'm a huge component of just finding happiness, period. And I feel like a lot of stressors come from who we choose to be with. When you're by yourself, sometimes things can be easier if it's between that and being with somebody who is toxic for you. So definitely want you guys to, check the book out. Let me know what you think about it. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I joke on Instagram. I'm joking in the book too. So there's little jokes in there and things like that. But I make it really clear and really easy to follow, because I want you guys to have clarity on who you are and what these different environments that you grew up in, how they have affected you, and maybe some things that you can help to work through, and to remove certain shackles from you that maybe are causing you to transmit in a certain way, that are causing you to connect with people in a certain way, and to attract the wrong types to you, and resonate with the wrong types of people. Nobody has time for that. Like, to go from relationship to relationship, find yourself in the same situation, and then just be left with years of heartbreak, or years of just issues or infidelities, or it's like you're just racking up trauma and scars on yourself. If there's a way to fix that, that's what the purpose of the book was, to get you to a point where you can be empowered to have the knowledge of self, and to have the direction. So the book reads like, sort of like, you go to WebMD, right? Some of you are like, what's the word? Hypochondriac. But for my hypochondriacs in here, whenever you feel like you got a headache and you start Googling, and it seems like you got a brain tumor, when you go on like WebMD, and you're it's cut and dry. You're looking for, okay, the symptoms, the treatment, the origin, where did I get it from? How do I step-by-step fashion, how do I fix this? How do I work through it? And because a lot of this psychological trauma is almost like a virus. I kind of liken it to a virus. So, if you've been through a lot of rough situations growing up, that's going to change your mindset. It's going to infect your mindset, and change your perspective. Why would you think that you have low self-esteem now? If your dad, when growing up, was constantly belittling you, or disrespecting you, or treating you like shit, he infected you with a certain mindset, and so your brain has changed. So then when you grow up, you see the world in that way, and you see yourself in that way. You didn't cause that. But just like with any virus or bacteria, there's a way to heal through it, and this is how you can start that process. So the book is dope, man. I worked on it for about a year. I wrote a little bit every day. The crazy part is, at the time, I was homeless at the time, so I was like going in and out of like Starbucks, closing down libraries, just working on it in the car with the laptop sometimes, just a little bit every day. Just being consistent about it, because I wanted to get it out, to you guys to be able to use, because I've heard just so many people over time just tired of how the dating process has been going, the results in it, and it just hasn't been the best time for people. A lot of people feel like they have their time wasted. A lot of people feel like there's no good people out there. They're sick of just the toxic relationships, and the back and forth, and the drama, and the ups and downs, and all of those different things. So this is a way for you to empower yourself to put an end to the toxic relationship cycle, because at the end of the day, it starts and ends with you. So if you are empowered to heal the reasons why you're attracting the wrong types, you'll only let the right people in. And you won't even be attracted anymore to that certain type, because you'll have dealt with whatever those demons are that are clinging to other people's demons that resonate on the same level. It's just a vibrational match. If you match vibrationally to somebody who is just as broken as you, or was abandoned just like you, and hasn't healed from it as of yet, that's the basis of the attraction. So I just wanted to leave that with you guys. I'm definitely gonna be going live a lot this month because I do those videos, but it's only a minute's time. I can't. I have a lot to say, man. Like I can't just I can't do 60 seconds and then go home, or just edit a bunch of short videos. It's almost it's hard. It's getting harder to even edit those down to a minute. So I wanted to solve that one for you. I got a lot more information coming. But when you get a chance, just go to the link in my bio under books. You just go to book, and then it'll take you right to Amazon. And then you could get it right there. So there's the Kindle version and there's the paperback version. But enjoy it. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. So enjoy it. But build yourself. Use it to build yourself and become better and become changed. And then once you get to all of the recommendations that I put in there, just start to implement those. Just little habits every day, little subtle changes, little experiments, little changes and augmentations to your daily routine, to your dating routine, and you'll feel much better. You'll make much better choices, and you'll be empowered to heal through things that you weren't responsible for creating inside of you. So y'all have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow night.